What's going on, guys? How are you today? January 26, 2023. We have your quick market update, your quick clown world update as to what is going on and what's moving in the world right now. So let's check the indexes. Let's see what's going on really quick. We want to see the dog that is wagging the tail, right? And as Ben Shapiro says, Noam Bauerle always says it's really great. Ben Shapiro says, facts don't care about your feelings. And Noam Bauerle says it, I think, brilliantly. He says, no, it's actually feelings don't care about your facts. And it truly is. If you can understand clown world and holding opposing opinions in your head at the same time, this is the world we're living in, where we're in a postmodernist world. We're in a world where feelings and emotions trump everything. And this is how we're making law. This is how we're making regulations. This is how we're electing people nowadays. And Ayn Rand, you have to be able to simultaneously understand the quote from Ayn Rand of, you can escape reality and disregard it for as much as you want. You can act like it's not there, but you can't disregard the consequences of reality. You can't escape those consequences of reality. So you can act like it's not there, but reality is still going to do its thing. Nature's law, first principles are still going to do its thing. So this is why we still look at these things. We have to peer into the clown world to see what's going on a bit here, unfortunately. So the U.S. 10-year bumped up a little bit, 3.49. And again, this is tradingeconomics.com. So do your own homework, trust, but verify yourself, right? You have to do your own homework. Don't take my word for it. Actually see what's going on for yourself. And you can see the whole yield curve is still inverted, meaning it's signaling recession, signaling bad things to come, because it's basically telling us, hey, the long end of the curve down here is saying there's going to be lower rates. And the short term is bumped up because it's being propped up or pushed up by the Fed, or was. And the long end of the curve down here is saying, you're going to have to lower these things eventually, because the government can't keep paying 5% or 6% or whatever it might be on this much debt. Yes, $31.5 trillion in debt. And here's the interest in the debt right here. So if you double that and say it's 5% or 10%, you're paying $1 trillion of interest on your debt. So now you're adding another trillion to the federal budget deficit here, 2.3 trillion. And this keeps going up at an exponential rate. So this is the clown world we live in. Remember, though, what's happening if you hold in the hardest money known to man. This is Bitcoin over the last 6-7 years against the dollar. So the dollar is going through the floor, and Bitcoin, if this is inverted, Bitcoin's going up in value, right? And the dollar here is crashing through the floor. So we have to understand that that's what's happening. And if you can understand that clown world we live in, then you can understand why this is happening. Why over the last 40 years, if you hold in dollars, right? Eggs, the cost of your eggs are in the news all the time now. The cost of your eggs just keep going up and up and up. However, if you hold in Bitcoin, if you're holding your wealth in Bitcoin, eggs get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. You're buying whole farms at this point. So let's check the rest of these stats here. Let's see what the word is on the street for the bond market. More importantly, because that is the tail that wags, or the dog that wags the tail. And maybe let me know if you think I should be saying it the other way. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's the tail that wags the dog. Maybe that's truly the thing that's happening. But let's look at the stock market here. Obviously, it's up a little bit. Nothing to write home about necessarily, but just we want to keep an eye on that, because that again is a derivative of the bond market. And the DXY is still about flat on the day. It's up just a tiny bit. It's down to 101. You can see it just crashing here. We've been noting this every single time we've been doing this. That you can see since October, November, it peaked out and it's just been falling, meaning everything the dollar is buying you less and less over time. And assets are getting more expensive to buy if you're holding dollars. And other countries around the world, central banks are breathing a sigh of relief, because now their debts can be paid off with those cheaper dollars. Now they're breathing that sigh of relief. That variable rate on their mortgages, on those loans, are now coming down. So again, globally, great. That's wonderful. It's the Triffin dilemma. And go back, we have videos on the Triffin dilemma and cantillionaires and what's going on with the currency printing. And this is why we are Bitcoin absolutists. It's fixing the money, fix the world. It's separating money from state. And a quick look into crude oil just bumped up a little bit here at $81 a barrel. And if that jumps up again, we're going to have an inflationary decade. There's so many things that I research, people I study, and just the fundamentals that I look at. It's going to be an inflationary decade, because you're going to have problems in all these sectors, especially commodities. This sector is going to have a lot of problems, and it's going to continue going up. Primary assets are going to continue going up in price and in fiat price, meaning it's going to make life more expensive for everyone. And when you have massive currency printing, which we're going to have, hence why we saw the DXY, the dollar going down in value, the 10-year treasury going down in yield, going up in value because they're buying bonds on the market. We just showed you the other day, global central banks are net positive global liquidity right now. They are pumping liquidity in the system while they're telling you they are tightening. So they're doing the jawboning over here to kind of tell the market, hey, whoa, stay at home, don't buy anything, while they're pumping liquidity in the system, pumping it into central banks, central banks pumping it into commercial banks. And they're pumping that liquidity in the system, and it sits on balance sheets a lot. If you want deep dives into balance sheets, go check out Jeff Snyder, go check out George Gammon. Those guys love getting into the weeds of balance sheets on banks and things like that. I would rather look at my own balance sheet, quite honestly. I would rather, and they're going to say, well, yeah, but it's all tied together, your balance sheet. Well, when you're building in a separate world, a separate paradigm, when you're building on the Bitcoin system, you're in a different world. You are in a different world when you're doing real estate through Bitcoin. You're doing things built on the Bitcoin network. You're in a different world, and you're in an asset that's eating everything else. The central bank's balance sheet doesn't matter to me at the end of the day, because all I know is it's going one way. It's increasing in size more and more over time, meaning the Bitcoin that I own will increase in purchasing power over time. It's going to increase in the fiat things I can buy, the fiat dollars I will accrue, and then eventually it'll collapse into the black hole of Bitcoin. And then it'll just be, of course, one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, but that purchasing power of one Bitcoin will be so massive. I just did this the other day. The cost of an M1 Abrams tank, we've been talking about this, everyone's talking about it, $8 to $10 million right now. Well, again, we've showed this many times of when that could happen, when you could have $8 to $10 million Bitcoin. It could be as little as 5 to 10 years from now. It could be 10 to 20 years from now. It could be longer than that, but it's probably going to be 2030, 2032, 2034. You could buy an M1 Abrams tank with one Bitcoin. Think about that. Today's purchasing power, you could buy one M1 Abrams tank. Talk about self-defense. So my job here is to think critically, to ask why, look at all sides of the spectrum, and make you think about different things. Kind of unplug you from the matrix a little bit and let's red pill a little bit. And what could happen? That should make you think, oh my gosh, what do you mean you buy an M1 Abrams tank? So this is the market, what's going on right now. We have to look at these things. Let's finish up really quick with one of our favorites here, time chain stats. The current block height, 773,000, hash rate, 306 exahash, guys. This is literally, Bitcoin is through the floor last year, but it keeps breaking all-time highs in hash rate, in mining, the security of the network. Let's just say that. At the end of the day, it's the security of the network. So it's never been higher. It continually keeps, and then not only that, but we're going to go with Clark Moody's. So I love time chain stats, but this is Clark Moody's as well. And there's a great dashboards to see what is going on with Bitcoin. What exactly are we looking at? And if you want to see, and someone says Bitcoin has no utility or there's nothing going on, I mean, just look at this stuff, guys. This is truly incredible. So we can go in here really quick and see, again, the market cap of Bitcoin, things like that, the sats per dollar. Every dollar can buy you 4,300 sats. Truly remarkable. And you can see the capacity of the Lightning Network and what's going on with the network and the things that are being built on the Lightning Network. That's, this will show you so many things along with time chain stats as well, and showing you exactly what's happening and where you are in the story, in the Clown World story. So like right here, Lightning Network, where we're at, total capacity is 5,200, almost 5,300 Bitcoin. So just a month or two ago, that was at 5,000. And then before that, it was at 4,500. Just continually breaks all-time highs on the layer 2. So the hash rate here, and again, this is an average, a rolling average, a lot of times of a week or two. So they have 278, 280 an exahash. They have 300 on time chain stats. And then, again, like I said, the 5,200 in total capacity on the Lightning Network. These are all-time highs, breaking all-time highs consistently over and over again. This is the future. This is what's happening right now before our very eyes. So get off Zero. If you don't have any, get off Zero, take it off the exchange, put it in cold storage. There's nothing out there like the feeling of owning your own money outside the system, outside of something anyone can control. You can send it anywhere on a moment's notice. And again, for the people that are, the government's going to take it out. The government's going to, they're going to do whatever. Like if you outweighted them on gold, if you outweighed the system and didn't give in, or anything else, whether it was drugs, the war on drugs, or anything, if you just outweighted your government, then things just change. They just go your way. Look, they're legalizing pot everywhere. You win. The people that were for pot and just continuing to do it, they win. Just like people think like, oh, they're not going to let Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. They will come hell or high water. They're probably going to fight like all get out to try to not have Bitcoin be accepted, especially here in America. However, it doesn't matter. More and more politicians own Bitcoin. More and more people around the world, and eventually the tide just turns and the iceberg flips. There's nothing the governments can do about it. You don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. So you have to get in the game or else you're done. You will be behind. You'll be behind technologically, you'll be behind monetarily. So get in the game. This is what's going on in the fiat clown world. If you want to be outside of this though, and building on the hardest network known to man, come to Bitcoin. This is not financial advice, it's freedom advice. If you like the updates we do here, if you like the other videos we do, please like, subscribe to the channel. Please share it with someone you think might need to hear this and might need that little extra push, whatever it may be, and appreciate your time. It's the most important asset we have. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. And then really quick, last thing here is tanks. We've been talking about this. This is the clown world again. Oh, they're unleashing strikes, Russia. Again, these are just distractions. Do not be distracted. Like Derek Zoolander when they're brainwashing him and telling him how to walk down the runway so he can take out the Prime Minister of Malaysia or whatever it is. And they're like, Derek, don't be distracted by the beautiful celebrities at the side of the catwalk. And he's like, you know, looking at all the celebrities as he goes by. Don't be distracted by all the games and shenanigans going on. Yes, great. These are escalations. You know, who's to say that these aren't all just coordinated and planned? This is the thing that if we don't understand the game that's being played on us, like we said, we called this out. Very few, if any, people are talking about the true game. Alex Gladstein is probably one of the only people I know really kind of calling this out. Maybe Max Kaiser, but the economic war games of these, the distraction though, I haven't seen anyone call it the actual distractions. I've seen people talk about the IMF and them taking people's commodities by issuing them loans and enslaving them. But I'm telling you right now, these are distractions. All these little things. Oh, look here. You know, oh, look there. Biden's got classified documents coming. Oh, you know what? Sorry, we're sending tanks to Ukraine. You know, Clinton did this in the 90s. Every president does this, right? Oh, Monica Lewinsky stuff happens. Nope, I'm bombing these places in, you know, Central Europe. Bombing the, you know, pharmaceutical factories, pill factories. This is absolutely what happens every time. So you have to look around you. Awareness. Don't get sucked into just the puck. Look around you. Where's your man at? Play real defense and understand what's happening. Because a great defense wins championships. We have to understand that at the end of the day. Great defenses win championships. If you are prepared, if you're independent, if you're resilient, food, water, energy, community, Bitcoin, gold, silver, security, firearms, ammo, you will absolutely thrive in what's coming. 100% hands down. Let's get prepared. Let's go. We'll see you on the next one.